have a foreign student exchange, and some people with big houses put up these students, and then the student stays for a while and goes to university or what have you.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. These tall whites basically are on an exchange.
Well, who are we sending to them?
Yes, but they haven't come back yet.
And plus, if they come back, they're not even going to tell you.
I think the thing is that when you're dealing with alien races, whatever agreement you might make on Monday doesn't necessarily hold true by Wednesday or Thursday. But from a government's point of view, it's expedient to do what they want, because ultimately they can't be challenged because their technology is so far ahead.
Right.
But the tall whites are not antagonistic to humans.
Are they grey? Are they tall greys? Are we talking about tall?
No. They are different, completely different from the greys. These are not robot or doll bodies. These are living biological creatures with a soul, very humanoid.
Does he have our emotions?
I was going to say that they do have emotions, but not human emotions. Their emotion for protection is very strong, so they protect their children. They have children, and they're incredibly protective of their children. And if a human on one of the bases was to approach within a certain distance of the children without authorization, then that would be the end of that person. So they do have emotions, yes, but they don't have the full range of emotions that humans have.
I read somewhere years and years ago, one race, or whatever race it was, they didn't like emotions because they thought there was a getting in the way, you know. So they bred them out. They bred out emotions. Is that the case?
Yeah, I think if anybody wants to look at it from a different angle, I remember the original Doctor Who, and I do watch the new Doctor Who, but the story of the Daleks is a very interesting one there, based on a little bit of reality, where the creator of the Daleks, a guy called Davros, bred out emotions because he wanted the Daleks to be merciless killing machines. And some races saw emotion as a weakness and got rid of it. The problem is that they didn't evolve because they lost that spark which makes humanity so important. They just marked time, and now a lot of these races want their emotions back.
Yeah, because what are you without emotions? Not a lot, really. You are just a robot.
Exactly.
Who is?
And, you know, we shouldn't trade them away. We shouldn't trade them away.
Well, I certainly don't intend to. Who is? I've heard you speak of the Great One. Who would that be?
Right, that would be one of the royal line of mantids, or as the Americans say, mantis. There are many different groups of mantis, just as there are many different groups of people. You know, you've got your Chinese, your Indians, etc. But there is one very important group of mantis, or mantids, that play quite an important role with Earth. And the creature that leads that group, his title is the Great One, because he's actually physically bigger than the others.
Right, so it's just because he's taller?
No, he's larger, which is often the case of a dominant creature. But he is the... I'm trying to put it in words that make sense. It's a cross between being elected into a post, as we would understand that here on Earth, but also being of a royal line. But they don't use the word royal. Like an elder, that's the best way to look at it. Like a village elders in a South American village.
Yeah.
It's the creature that's the most wisest, the most knowledgeable, but also the calmest, who's going to be very logical and not make snap.
So it's a living, breathing person.
Pardon?
It's a living, breathing person. You know, not like we believe in God. Well, some people.
Oh God, no. This is a living creature with a soul in it. It's like we would call the Queen, or the King, the King. So their title is the Great One.
The Great One. Right.
It's an honorific title.
Tell me about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I'm sorry, the line's a bit bad.
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
And I put Vladimir. Why would I have wrote that?
Well, the Dead Sea Scrolls really important because they were written a very long time ago by a group of almost mystics, really, who wanted to put down history because they knew that there was a great sort of movement against them and trying to expunge the truth. So they wrote them and hid them. And when they were discovered, I think they were discovered during the Second World War, actually, in the 1940s. But of course, when they were translated, the people who were translating it translated it in their own context. So if you live in a 3D world and you don't have any knowledge of anything else, you will translate it in a certain way. However, there were certain references there to other beings, which they just interpreted as magic or myth. But the reality is that it gave a completely different story for the effects on Earth of another creature which we call the jinn.
Oh, yeah.
Which are an interdimensional creature. You could call them demons. And the Dead Sea Scrolls talked about them. The Dead Sea Scrolls talked about the archons. A very, very interesting document. Unfortunately, from English point of view, it's all written in Jewish, and it's very difficult to get translations.
What about dolphins? What's going on with dolphins?
Dolphins? That's a really wide question. Do you want to just try and narrow that down?
Well, I'll tell you, what I've got in front of me, I've got something about Obama and the press, and then I've got Cuba, NSA, UFOs, dolphins. Okay, well, we'll talk about dolphins then, and just to generally. A very long time ago, an alien race came to this planet. Unfortunately, humans weren't evolved enough to take their souls, so the whole object was that these creatures would be able to incarnate as humans, but humans weren't ready. There was only one group of animals that were capable of taking these souls, and those were the dolphins. Now that sounds really incredible to people who haven't studied this, until you go to America and you find that it's actually illegal to swim with a dolphin anywhere in America unless you go through one of the approved schools. There are oceanic centres, and you pay a huge amount of money, and you can then go and be with a dolphin. But because they understand, that's the powers that be, understand who dolphins or what dolphins are, that's why there's such a big program for disabled children. You pay mega bucks, and you can have your disabled child be in a pool with dolphins. And that is because these creatures are very different from what we would understand, and can communicate in a very subtle way with disabled children, and can actually help to raise their consciousness and their intelligence. So that is why so many agencies report benefits for disabled children to be with dolphins. It's one of the reasons that they spill so much oil in the sea, because they want to kill off the dolphins, because the dolphins are doing a very, very because just lately
just as the whales are as well.
Well, are whales the same?
Whales are the same, and you won't read this, but if you go, I hope people could go and do some research. When a whale makes it's whale, they call it whale music, don't they? And people can buy these CDs and you can play whale songs.
I love it.
But if you actually see how they do it, they actually go to near the bottom of the seabed, and they invert themselves. This is a whale, inverts itself so that its tail is up to the top and its head is down facing the seabed, and then it makes its whale song, which then vibrates off the seabed and then travels along the seabed for absolutely miles and miles. And I think it's operating at 23.2 hertz. I can't remember exactly, but the pitch or the tone, I don't know the musical words for this, but the resonance of it is exactly the same as the natural resonance of Earth. Now that is not a coincidence. So the sound of the whale is the same resonance as the Earth, and what they're doing is they're just charging up the Earth's environment. Now,
that was nice of them, seeing as the way we treat them.
But they don't want to tell people, so what they do, they try and hunt these poor things, kill them, drop oil in the water, because they see these creatures as working against their plans.
Yeah. Oh, flipping heck. Tell me about about the classroom rug?
Right. Very good friend of mine. I haven't got permission to use a name on your show, so I won't obviously use a name. I'm always very, very protective of people who supply me with information. It's a female. She had a child at this school. The school had a nursery, and she saw a rug on the floor, which is not unusual because that's where kids sit on a rug, and it was the globe, the earth, and lots of school children all holding hands round it. But one of them was an alien, a traditional grey alien. So she looked at that and she thought, well, what's that about? So she took some secret photographs for me, and then I then managed to find the company that is contracted to the education department to make this rug. And I asked, and I was told, no, we've withdrawn the rug now, we don't make it anymore. But we do have another one, and they sent me pictures, and it was exactly the same rug, except instead of the alien, they put an Eskimo in there. So I went back to my contact and said, can you see if you can buy the rug whenever they want to throw it out? And sure enough, after about 6 months or so, because these rugs get heavy use, don't they, in the classroom, they want to chuck the rug out. So she made an approach and was told, no, it's going to be burned and destroyed, you can't have it. But she did manage to take some pictures of it as it was waiting to be collected by the council. And I used some of those pictures on my presentations under the guise of, look, the government tells us aliens are not real. We're told that UFOs don't exist. So why is an education department paying a company to create a rug with an alien on it?
Oh, exactly, and why on earth would they pay skills to fake UFO crashes? Can you tell us about that?
It's all part of the same plan. I was just staggered at how many people got in touch with me on Facebook to send me their photographs up and down the country, all in England and Wales, but not to my knowledge in Scotland, where primary schools, were hosting fake alien crashes, and they got their budgets from the government because they had to contact the police. The police arrived, the fire brigade arrived, the ambulance, and you've got to pay for that. And they would treat it as if it was a real crash. And one of the parents told me that in this particular school that I won't mention, all the children came in at 9 o'clock in the morning and were ushered into the hall and told, shush, 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 don't say anything. A UFO has crashed. We can't go outside till the police tell us it's safe to do so. Then a policeman comes into the hall and says, it's all right now. And then the teachers lead all the kids out, and they're all this zigzaggy tape all around this, reconstruction of an alien crash. And again, if we're told UFOs don't exist, there's no such thing as aliens, why are the schools officially following through this? And it can only be that they are educating children, or programming is a better word, the next generation, ready for when they want to do something along those lines themselves on a much wider scale.
See, I bet there's loads of people that don't know about that. They're all out.
No,
was it just a certain time that it happened? Did they say, right, we're going to do it in July, and they did a load of them, or are they, Are they doing? I know they did more than one. How many schools? Do you know?
Well, I've got the figure now, something like 200 schools.
Oh, good Lord!
200, and I've got pictures now from 20 schools. So parents from 20 different schools have sent me pictures, and some of these things range from the absolutely ridiculous bits of tin foil right through to some very, very good flying saucer, representation.
Yeah, and who made them?
It's incredible though, because it just shows you what a widespread. But it's not advertised. They're very clever. They don't advertise it. They just say, "Oh, we're doing something special at school," and that's it. And then, of course, it's already done. And if the parents want to complain, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Because it's already happened.
Yeah. Tell me about these badges.
You mean the patches? The
patches, yeah.
The Americans are really, really big into patches. In this country, it's only about the Boy Scouts and the Girl Guides who sort of do a clever job or do something clever, and then they get a badge. Sometimes it's metal they pin on, sometimes they sew it on. But the Americans are absolutely mad on it. And their military, I just covered. Anybody who's seen anything on television just knows that the Yanks love to have these badges. And they're very proud of them. And I've been given a number of badges now, which